All right. Good morning, and thank you all for coming today on a dreary, dreary day. We'll jump right in with our regular administrative tasks of approval of meeting minutes. We have two sets of minutes, one our regular meeting from last month, and then also the first reading of the budget on the 15th of August. Clark, if you had a chance to
I
look at it.
did look at both of them early on when Janet sent them out, and since there was a lot to them, I gave them to Jeff, and he looked at them as well. But I would make a motion to approve
Second.
both the August 8th and the 15th.
Okay.
So that's,
minutes.
the motion is for both sets of minutes, and I've got
Okay.
Clark with the motion, and I had Joe with the second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time to review those. I know that was a
It's fun
that
reading.
was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Okay, Brett Barton, Community Corrections Report.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Don't have a lot to report today, give you some numbers. We have 99 on our program this morning. It's the first time in a long time we haven't had anybody on our CTP program. We have 3 on pretrial release, and we're supervising 4 juveniles. We do have a DOC site visit coming in tomorrow. They're going to just, very informal, just kind of review what's going on, and we'll hash out some things. I've got some funding questions I want to ask them, if my board has some questions too, so answers and resolutions of those. That's all I have today.
Would you mind taking a minute? I noticed that we have an appropriation for the Crossing School that your board had voted to provide some funding for. And you care to speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Eric Spencer approached me. He's on their board, and you know I was on their board for quite a while. They were looking for, well, I don't know the right term, but 2 main sponsors, co-sponsors of the event. They couldn't find a second one. He approached me. I said, yeah, Eric, we've got money in our CTP fund. We'd be happy to help out. So they've got a dinner a week from tomorrow, a week from today. And, we're going to go to that and just support them as much as we can.
Okay, great. Great. Any questions for Brett?
No.
Thank you, sir. All right, we have probation with us today. Nancy.
I thought I'd also like to mention that the Crossing also accommodates a lot of our juveniles that come back from Department of Corrections. It's a step down
Okay.
back into the community, so we've always been great about that. Last month, we had detention costs for a young man, $2,506. It's the young man that brought a gun to school
Okay.
in Frankfurt. He actually ordered the parts and put the gun together. So he stayed in detention for a little bit before he was sent to school.
Wow.
It was a pretty serious case, and we were thankful that Delaware County.
Okay. Appreciate that explanation.
That's why he went to fact finding, so he was detained, and then he was brought back to court, and then he stayed there till boys' school only takes kids on Wednesday mornings. So that's why he was there so long. Any questions? He was one that he was totally a danger to the community.
Okay.
Good.
Well, I appreciate that,
Yep.
update and kind of the rest of the story there.
Yeah. Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah. Okay, that moves us on to new business. And we have our friends from the Colfax Perry Library again. We've visited a couple of times here over the last couple of months. They're in the process of doing their bond issue, and as a part of that process with the state, we have to have, as the elected body with fiscal oversight, we have to approve that budget, that it contains that new debt service levy. So anything you care to add or share about the budget itself?
You guys have a copy of it.
Yes, we do.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and as you said, it's because we're doing a bond. We will have 2 payments next year. We have the money for the new one that we'll have, and then we'll get the money for this old one, and it will be paid off. So that's why I'm over my budget then. You guys have to review it.
If you look on your budget Form 1 that's in your packet, down there at the bottom is the debt service line item that is really the reason that we have to review this budget. So we've had multiple discussions at this point about the project itself and what they're hoping to accomplish and the net neutral impact to the taxpayers of Perry Township. So really, this is sort of the last formal step that they need from us to move forward. So I'd entertain a motion to I don't know if we are approving the budget, Britt, or are we having reviewed the budget? Do you know which is the proper term? We could do both. Let's say review and approved.
I think it is both.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jeff makes the motion that we have reviewed and approved the Perry Township budget. Do I have a second? Second by Mike. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. That is all we needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Resolution 2023-04, a resolution designating approved commissary expenditures not requiring council approval. Sheriff Kelly, if you want to come on up and we'll speak to that. This goes back to a topic that got brought up last month when we had a request for commissary funds to be expended for some inmate footwear, if I remember right.
Correct.
And we discussed at the time trying to streamline this process a little bit and get some of these more mundane inmate and jailer items into a resolution that sort of had some amount of pre-approval.
Yes.
So you've taken the task on of presenting a draft resolution, and I'll let you speak to it.
And you have a copy that, a newer copy that was sent by the matron this past week, and I think it addresses the things that need to be done and things that we probably take for granted that are already in that statute, but they're not in that statute. And those are the things that, for the inmates' care and need, that we have that, and that's pretty much what that resolution stands for. And it keeps from, I know you guys have an agenda and everything else, and we can put everything on an agenda and come back and forth, but, you know, it is for the need of the jail and the staff, so it's something that, you know, I would appreciate it, and I'm sure that in the long run, it's the same thing that gets approved by you guys regardless of whether we, you know, put it in front of you or not. I think that's the ability to have it, and then obviously, you know, the Overwatch and the fund itself has the biannual report and things like that.
I've shared with you a little bit of my feedback, but I want to open it up to other members of the council to give your feedback on the proposed resolution.
Well, I do recall saying something at the last meeting positive about doing this, and I'm still, you know, positive about something along these lines. I just don't think we're quite there yet. You know, because, you know, we get your report twice a year. That's, in my mind, a little less frequent than what I'd like to have, but I know that that's what's required, you know, to see some more upper limits on some of these things. I mean, the second draft that you sent out is by far better than the first one, but I think, and then lastly, I feel like since your council has pretty much been drafting the document and so on, that we should have this run by you know, legal experts to look at it from our point of view.
Absolutely.
So you know, I'm not against it, but I'm not in favor of this one right here.
Okay.
Anybody else?
That's my sentiments too.
My feedback, I'm sharing out loud what I've shared with you privately, was that I did feel like we wanted to have caps, that we would, and they should be generous caps. I'm not trying to make it to where we're just at the same situation like for instance, I think that one we did last month was $3,000. To me, that's, you shouldn't have to come to us for $3,000. That should, we would include that. But if we do $3,000 and it was 3 times in a year, we may reach a threshold that the council needs to say, what's going on? You know what I mean? So I want there to be a cap that becomes a trigger to where activity would require you to come back to the council and we have a discussion about what's causing the needed expense. So I'm like, what Clark and Mike have agreed to, I'm not against the concept. I just would like to tweak this a little bit more. I think we're close. I think this is pretty close.
Okay.
I echo the same, just ceilings. I know maybe renting some equipment, that might be hard to put a price on that, but you would kind of know the equipment you're talking about, so You know, maybe there's
Right.
there's a number there.
I think in the grand scheme of things is that this fund obviously offsets county general. It offsets the need to bring that money out of county general, and I think that's the most important thing, is that we have a 30-plus-year-old building now that is absolutely in failure mode, and that's what we're dealing with. And I think some of those, especially through maintenance and some of the other issues that, it goes to keeping that building alive and keeping it operating. So, well, you guys take a look at it, and I greatly appreciate the conversation, and, whatever the case is. Matron, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I would just like an email with feedback. All I'm hearing is upper limits.
Because we
We've
wait
already
till,
modified it one time with an email with feedback, so I would like written feedback.
because that would help greatly, because we only meet once a month. And this will be turned into November, it turns into December. And if, individually as council, send us an email, come over and talk, sit down and take a look, and we can have that conversation. We greatly appreciate it. And I know we're getting into a busy time of year for certain folks, but it is one of those things where we definitely need the feedback so that we're not shooting something at you that isn't even gonna be close to what you're thinking. And if you could share that feedback with me or the matron, that would be fantastic, and we can get that stuff put together.
Well, I think you'll get that. Yeah.
My opinion is that I don't want this to drag out. I'd like to have a final version in November that we, I think this has been good. You gave a draft, we did give some feedback. I felt like from the feedback that we did give in a written, that we kind of reached a point where we had to get to here and have a public discussion,
Right.
and so now we go to that next level because I think we're much closer to knowing where we stand. So let's just keep working. I think we can have something for November.
Appreciate it, thank
Okay.
you. Anything else on that?
Not on this
Not on
issue,
this.
no. If you need more time, we'll come back around on department heads, if that's okay.
No, I'll
Okay.
catch you then.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Sheriff.
Okay, next item is we need to revise again the salary ordinance. And is Rodney in with us? Oh, yep, okay. So Rodney, this is partially a result of the budget that we're in the, we seem to have continually been working on all year as we've been moving through this state new money that the department has received. We made some adjustments to existing salaries earlier in the year. We actually created a new full-time director, adjusted the salary for the environmental officer. And so we have the three positions there in the health department: environmental, immunization nurse, and the administrator, that we need to amend the salary ordinance to reflect the changes we've made here over the last few months. So I'm not seeing that. Oh, you got it. Okay, thank you. So those are highlighted in yellow, and then the last one is the EMA adjusting that part-time mechanic position. I think it's just to catch up to what the salary has been, but we're catching up on the salary ordinance. So I need a motion to ratify these by making that final adjustment to the salary ordinance. This is just finishing the process for what we've done over the last couple of meetings.
Make a motion, ratify and approve, if that's what.
Okay, so those four changes for the part-time mechanic at EMA, environmental officer and the health department, immunization nurse at health department, and the full-time administrator position at the health department are what we're changing. I have a motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by Joe. Does anybody have any questions? I want to make sure we're all clear on what we're doing here. None? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. All right, thank you for passing that over. Okay, that moves us to our old business, which is our additional appropriations for this month. We have a few. I'm gonna delete that one. Bear with me. Okay. Beginning with the general fund, $36.96 from the sheriff's office. We got a rebate on recycling our kitchen oil that we're appropriating back for use.
Sorry.
Commissioner's budget, $4,000. This is actual appropriation from the cash balance. It's to meet our insurance deductible. We have a budgeted amount for our insurance deductible, but we exceeded that primarily due to some of the activities that have happened out at Parkview that Chris has been here to talk to us about over the last few months. But we need an extra $4,000 for insurance deductible. The next one is with regard to at the budget meeting. We did not talk about this, I don't believe, at our regular meeting, but at the budget meeting on the 15th, the surveyor reported to the council that we had an extra vehicle that, due to a mistake in the ordering process, the vehicle for the surveyor, we ended up with 2 when we'd only ordered 1. So he brought that to the council's attention, that if we wanted a vehicle for another department, there was one available. Area Plan, the vehicle that the surveyor was replacing, Area Plan had bought one at the same year, that same 2013 model, and she was planning to ask for a new vehicle anyway, so we decided to go ahead and take that and avoid the model year cost increase. So this is an appropriation in Area Plan's budget to get that vehicle now, $53,425. I don't think we'll spend all of that because Dan and Liz have taken that over to the dealership, and I do believe we'll have some trade value that will come off of that, but that's the top line price on the new vehicle. Here's community corrections. We talked about it. Brett spoke to this. It's $2,000 that their board voted to use to support the crossing school from the CTP fund. Now, there's a few here from Highway, and I spoke to Rick there briefly before the meeting, and if he wouldn't mind coming up and talking real quick, we had a couple of moving parts here. We had a bridge project get completed, and we had to transfer some money around, and now we're replenishing buckets. But Rick, if you'd walk us through the bridge project that was completed.
Yeah, this is for Bridge 55. We took money from Bridge 30, which we couldn't get federal aid for, and we had money in that account for that bridge, so we took that money. And we took some money from Bridge 67, which they're in the process of doing construction right now, and miscellaneous culvert and miscellaneous bridge. We took money from those. This is the Bridge 55 is the state pays 80%, we have to pay 20% of the cost. If you guys remember Bridge 36, the state paid all of that. That didn't cost us anything. We got all of our money back for that bridge. In Bridge 67, we were supposed to get 100%, and because of a glitch on the state end of it, they ended up kicking us back to the end of the line again, and they felt bad about it, so they're going to pay 90% of Bridge 67. So this Bridge 55 brings us back to our normal amount that we were supposed to be paying all along, or we should have been paying all along.
Okay, so what happened here is that when the bill came in for that match, and sometimes due to the state budgeting process and how they allocate funds, we don't necessarily, as he's indicated, we don't necessarily have a consistent, we know it's going to be a 20% match or whatever, so it's difficult to budget for.
Okay.
They gave us the bill for a 20% match. We had to move money around to put that money into one line item that we could use to send our check for the match. And we moved it from these line items that you're seeing now: bridge inspection, bridge repairs, culvert repairs, and Bridge 67. So now we're reappropriating money back to those line items so that if things come up in those categories, there's money that can be spent. So that totals $195,000. So thank you, Rick. Okay, for EMS, $2,200 using their portion of the opioid settlement funds that we allocated out earlier this year, $2,200 for opioid emergency equipment. Okay, Board of Health, we made a move earlier this summer where we had a STI coordinator position that was intended originally to be a contractor position, but it was later determined that it needed to be an employee position, and we're going to have that function as a part-time position. But because of that, we now have to add to the budget the Social Security and Medicare that would go with that part-time salary. So this $1,780 is for Social Security and Medicare for the STI clinic coordinator. Okay, Health Department also, $3,000 for the subscription fee to the Health Information Exchange. And $1,000 that we're just putting some additional money into the mileage account that fund is deployed. Oops, got another one. $7,600 Board of Health for equipment. This is for installing a flagpole out at the Board of Health building and electrical lighting at the base for a total health request of $13,380. Community corrections here, this is from the misdemeanor fund, so before we talked about CTP fund, this is an additional $1,000 for the Crossing School, so $3,000 in total from across two different funds. From statewide 911, this is what is it, $20,205.23. This was money that was originally budgeted last year to make our final in-digital equipment lease payment, but we didn't get the bill until this year, and so that money had rolled back to the cash balance and needed to be reappropriated for this year. So $20,205 for that equipment lease payment, final equipment lease payment. And we've got a series of additional collections through the TREX program for probation. There's a handful of them. I won't go through them all individually, but they total $1,374.21. Those are deficient fees owed to probation that were withheld from state tax returns by the state and forwarded to the county. Surveyor's office, $2,174.42. This is our tax settlement check that we received from Tipton County for their portion of the Leslie Johnson drain that is administered by Clinton County. They collect the taxes forwarded to us for our administration. Sheriff's Gifts Fund, $45 for a RAD class. What's a RAD class? R-A-D.
It is a self-defense class for females that is put on. We have instructor certifications for two of our officers.
Okay.
And they provide that class to females in the community. They put that class on 4 times, 3 times a year.
Okay, great. Well, we had a donation to help fund that, so $45. Thank you to whoever made that. From infraction deferral, $10,000 for professional services. We had Prosecutor Sommer down here earlier in the budget hearing, and he explained that this was for some contractual services to, I can't remember what he said. It was equipment contract, wasn't it? Of
Yeah,
some
it
kind to
was
support law
yes.
enforcement, but I'm not sure what the actual equipment was, but it was a support contract. Community corrections from the project income fund. This one we'll have a little discussion about. It's $10,000 for the translator position that we've talked about over the recent few weeks. In discussions with the courts, I'm going to recommend that we deny this one. I've talked with Brett about it earlier today as well. I think we've found some funding sources there in the court budgets that we'll be able to use and keep that. We won't have to have that cross-entity transferred. I think it'll make it a lot simpler, a lot easier for everybody to track. And we may even see if we can consolidate that further as we work through the 2024 budget and see if we can get that one position in one court budget and really make it streamlined. But for now, we do not need the $10,000 from community corrections. We appreciate the offer, but I think we're able to work through that in the court budget. So I would entertain a motion to deny the community corrections request.
So,
I think I've got Mike with the motion, and I now.
Second.
I think I got Clark with the second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. The motion carries 6-0. So you'll make a note so I don't forget that when we do the ordinance.
okay.
From the central dispatch budget, $29,319.09. This is a refund we got. Renee, I may have you walk through this one. This one's a little more complicated, if you don't mind.
No, you're fine. So I talked last month in our
Yeah.
budget, so, the funding for, this had always gone through Motorola, which is our Spillman. Spillman was bought out by Motorola, so, the funding for ERS with fire reporting, so when we had a call in Spillman, our CAT system, it pushes to ERS
Okay.
for funding. Well, we've always paid Motorola or Spillman for that ERS portion. Well, I get this bill, I don't know, February or March from ERS saying I owe this amount of money. No, I don't. I already paid Motorola. Motorola didn't pay,
ERS.
they decided to stop moving that forward. And Motorola, then they wanted to credit me. No.
Yeah.
So it took me months. I mean, Marcia and I were back and forth, and Britt, we had to do some special paperwork to finally get that refunded.
So this is the money that's refunded?
This is the money,
Okay.
and then I will be able to now, I will just start
Okay.
paying them directly
Okay.
and keep Motorola out of the mix. So it was just a real,
So this is reappropriating the bill so we can pay ERS
Yes,
directly for the
yes.
fire reportings?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Okay, thank you. All right, then we have a few from the health department that are from the COVID testing grant too, and we, end of June is the end of the state reporting year, and that's on a state grant cycle, so we're now reappropriating some of this money for the new grant cycle year. $8,377.64 for extra assistance. $1,100 for the Social Security and Medicare that covers that part-time labor. $3,045 for miscellaneous equipment replacement. I guess that's all in for that. That totals $12,522.64 from the health department. And then last but not least, from the child support 4D incentive budget, $1,680 for child support seminar conference, so that some of our staff can attend that conference. And that is your appropriations slate for September. Any questions, comments, clarifications needed on any of those? Okay. So we had one amendment there with the denial on the community corrections, but I'd entertain a motion to report, or to approve the appropriations slate as amended.
I'll make that motion
Have a
with
motion?
with that one denial.
Okay, a
Yeah.
motion by Jeff, do I have a second? Second by Mike, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Okay. Transfers that require approval, did we have any, Janet? I don't see my normal little sticky note here.
Yeah, there's a few.
The transfers that need approval, which ones are those?
Sorry, yes, it starts there, with that general fund extension services,
Okay,
and I'll tell you when you're
okay.
done. Sorry.
Yeah, okay,
You find it? Okay.
well, no, when you get to the end of that, let me know. So, general fund, $1,500, this is an extension, $1,500 from office supplies to extra help. $500 from office supply, looks like two different submissions there. $500 additional dollars, office supplies to extra help. From weights and measures, $300 from the flow meter line item to office supplies. EMS, $10,000 from paramedic part-time to EMT part-time. Health Department, $3,000 from immunization clerk to extra help. Health Department, $20,650 from contractual services to STI clinic coordinator. That's to fund the new position. We still going here?
Yep.
Okay. Highway Department, 40 cents from one truck driver line item to another truck driver line item to make a quick adjustment correction there. And then $2.60 from one truck driver line item to another truck driver line item.
There's a lot of these.
Is there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. $6, so we're, I'm not sure how we got off here on our salaries, but we're making some series of corrections here. We have, they're all from one salary to another salary to make things right, but $6 and then another one for $7.40, $8.80 and $1, $3 and $7.40, $10 and $7.40, $7.40 and $7.40, two more $7.40, each from a different position, $4 and $7.40. All of those together, we were moving around to get everybody's salary to the correct spot, so someday I want to hear the rest of the story.
10,000 or 15,000.
Okay, Central Dispatch, 15,000 from group medical to overtime. In the jail treatment, it looks like it's a grant program here at the jail, $500 from the JCAP coordinator to the adult education instruction position.
That's it.
That's it? Okay. Those are all of the transfers that required our approval.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion by
Second.
Clark, a second by Todd to approve that slate of transfers. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. All right.
Here's another one. Sign and move on.
You have in your packet our regular financial report and budget status. So the monthly financial account balance statement and the monthly budget status statement that is presented by the auditor, and I like to have reflected in the minutes that we've received. So I'd entertain a motion that says we've received that.
We have received that.
Okay, motion from Jeff. Do I have a second? Second by Mike. All those in favor, you raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. All right, any council reports? Anybody attend anything on behalf of the council in the last month? I think it's been kind of all budget oriented and budget focused for this month. Okay, no council reports. Commissioner report. I know we have one commissioner in the room. Anything you need to bring to the council's attention, Commissioner Weaver?
Just one thing, and I don't mean to take away from all of our departments, because I think they've all done a good job this year. But I think we need to recognize some of the departments that have really stepped up this year. And that being, as you know, we've had some large, difficult court actions upstairs that is kind of out of the norm. And first of all, I think our courts have done well at trying to keep the costs down as much as we could on some of those big cases. Same time, our security has been tested 2 or 3 times, large cases that we've had. So, I think our legal system enforcement have worked very hard to keep it in a smooth situation. And I think the last case we just had, everybody did well to get through whatever the ripples were. And I think it was a little above and beyond, the murder cases that we've had is kind of unusual. Prosecutor had his hands full for quite some time. Judges had their hands full with trying to was, and I just think that everybody kind of worked together. Money was saved because everybody worked together. Those expenses could have been much larger for the county. Kudos to the people that have done this.
Yeah.
That's all.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Department heads. Any department heads need time with the council beyond your regular budget discussion? Sheriff?
I really don't have anything. We'll talk about it in the budget.
Okay.
meeting, because there's no sense in. Okay,
Okay, all right, very good.
thank you.
Anybody else? I see other department heads in the room. Okay.
Quickly on that denial, I had to get my board approval, DOC's approval before it came to you. Well, DOC's gonna need a document that says that was rejected. If they do, can I get something?
Yeah, yeah.
I will retype the ordinance and say that that's fine, I can get you a copy.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any business to come before the council for our regular meeting? Okay. Well, I'm going to recess this meeting because we will go back into the budget session, but we'll take a break. And anybody that wants to stay for the budget is welcome to, but we'll take here 10 or 15 minutes and reconvene the budget part of the day.
For them. Yeah.